Hello, and welcome back to the Couch Potato Podcast on this new episode Monday. But before we kick things off, I do want to give you guys and gals a special update on the Halloween episode that we promised on Saturday. Unfortunately, due to technical issues, we weren't able to get it out. We were running into all kinds of connectivity issues with the watch-along. People's mics were cutting in and out. It just was a very subpar episode, and since you guys are accustomed to getting subpar content from us each week, we didn't want to subject you guys to that on Halloween, too. So sorry about that, guys. But we are going to make it up to you. We are going to do a special Turkey Day turkey extravaganza episode coming up on Thanksgiving Day, where we're going to sit down and watch a bad movie. We haven't decided what movie we're going to do yet or what kind of format. So if you guys want to give us a follow on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, we'll have the update on that here in the next couple of days. So that should be really awesome. So we hope you guys, that makes it up to you somehow. I mean, outside of Lucas sending you money, which we discussed that, but he wasn't having it. So sorry about that too. But in the meantime, without further ado, here's this week's episode, Toy Story.
Okay, everybody, coast is clear.
This holiday season,
It's showtime!
turn on your imagination.
That's using the old noodle.
When toys come to life,
Boo, boo, boo!
Walt Disney Pictures presents the first ever computer animated feature film,
Code Red, we are Code Red.
To infinity and beyond!
Toy Story. Rated G.
Welcome back to another episode of the Couch Potato Podcast. I'm Russ, and joining me tonight is the man who's made $5 worth of content sound like $1 million. I'm talking about our producer, Adam. Adam, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
All right,
How are
well,
you?
I think our capacity crowd wants to show their appreciation. Give it up for Adam. It's quite an applause, my friend.
Yeah, we got a live studio audience tonight.
We don't have anybody in here, but I really like messing with these sound pads on this Rode Procaster that I use, so it's pretty awesome. I haven't been able to use them as much.
Yeah.
So I figured, what better way to test drive it than to fit in that little bit of you in the capacity crowd.
You got a new gadget, you got to try out all the features.
Yeah, like I wanted it to sound like you were coming down the aisle at WrestleMania. That kind of pop. It's like if Stone Cold Steve Austin were to come out. That's the kind of pop I wanted for you, that introduction.
Now I got to think of some music that I can walk down to.
Just do the glass shattering like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I guarantee you it's going to drive him wild. All right. Well, on this week's episode, we've done about a month's worth of horror movies, so I think it was about time for us to do something a little bit more lighthearted, a little light, not so gory. So we are diving into the animated world today. We're doing Toy Story from 1995. Was this your idea? Or was this your suggestion? I couldn't remember.
We discussed having an animated feature, and I think Toy Story was decided by Lucas, and we just agreed with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a pretty good one. I mean, it's pretty much an iconic film, so good choice, good choice. I know when we were talking about this, Toy Story, because I know when I didn't see Toy Story originally, I didn't see it till after 2 had come out. Because I had started working at a video store, and to take advantage of the discount that I got, which was pretty sweet, we had got a Toy Story 1 and 2 pack. It was 1 and 2 together. And I just thought, well, fuck, I might as well buy it since I have this awesome discount. So I bought it and I watched them. I can't remember when 2 came out. Wasn't it like 97 or 98? No, it was later than that because I had already been out of high school.
Because I think it was like 99 at least. Mm-hmm. I'm going to look it up because I'm curious. I don't want to be wrong.
Well, I know it was a few years after the first one to come out because like I said, I hadn't seen it. I thought it looked kind of cool, but you know, it's 95. I'm supposed to be a cool high schooler. I'm not going to go see a kid's movie.
So I looked it up. It's 99.
All right, cool. All right, so yeah, 4 years after the fact. I was a little late to the game, but I remember really liking it. But I know when you and I were talking about this, Toy Story's got a very special connection in your house. Am I wrong?
No, you are not wrong. So Jenna, she would have it on in the background.
Now, Jenna is your wife.
Yes,
And Jenna also does not like The Princess Bride, correct?
Correct.
Okay, just wanted to get that out of the. Just wanted to clear that air right now.
We don't like to mention that. That gets us into some fights. So
that gets you in trouble. Doesn't get me in trouble. I can say it, but just to spare you, I won't say it anymore.
No, that gets her in trouble. I mean, it's wrong that she doesn't like that movie. But
we've gotten some hate mail about it. I mean, the two emails I get are either to offer me something for erectile dysfunction or the fact tell me that her not liking The Princess Bride is just wrong.
Yeah, it is. But I digress. It does have a very special place in this household because she would have it on in the background all the time while we were dating. And so I kind of grew to dislike this movie a little bit just because I'd seen it too much. But having not watched it for years, I have grown to love it again because it is one of my favorite movies. But if you have too much of a good thing, it can be a bad thing.
Oh, so it's not when you see it on TV, it's like, oh, there's that motherfucker Woody again.
See, for a couple of years, yeah, that's what it was like. Like, nope, I'm not watching that. But it's been a few years since she's grown out of that phase. But I can still quote it from front to back, back to front, backwards, forwards, up and down. Yeah. From
the West Coast to East Coast, all points in between. Now, you have two kids, just like I do now. Is Toy Story movie gets played a lot in your house with the kids?
Yes. So when Madison was smaller, she's my oldest. She would watch it all the time. She loved Buzz Lightyear. Buzz Lightyear was her favorite. Lily likes Buzz Lightyear too. I don't think she likes him as much as Madison does, but they both are avid fans of Toy Story. Probably not as much as Frozen, but it's probably a close second with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my son was he had a stretch for about a year where he loved Toy Story. I think he watched 1, 2, and 3. I can't tell you how many times. He was more of a Woody kid. Like I remember we went to a huge Disney store in Chicago and got him one of those gigantic Woody dolls. Mm-hmm. But then, like most kids, they just kind of grow out of that phase. I actually had asked him, like, hey, do you want to be on Toy Story or do you want to do something else? And he kind of gave me that look like, come on, Dad, I'm not doing fucking Toy Story. Come on. So he ends up on Zombieland.
Yeah.
So, but
I don't know if
go ahead.
See, I don't know if you can see behind me here. Nobody on the podcast can see this, but my wife has decorated our dining room and some Toy Story memorabilia back here.
Well, once we go live with video at some point, we'll put I'll get the Chewbacca that's been on the Lost episodes, and then you just have Buzz, Woody, and the gang on your feed.
I like it.
This when I was like kind of watching this and I was doing some research on this movie actually was a game changer, if I'm not wrong. I mean, like, what do you think? How do you think this movie changed animated film, especially?
When's the last time you've seen a hand-drawn 2D animated feature film?
From a major studio, it's been a long time.
I think that's how it's changed the industry for sure. Just because this came out, and then after this came out, there was just an explosion of computer animated feature films, and it's in large part to Pixar and this movie. I mean, you think about animated feature films now, the top grossing ones. I mean, Frozen, Moana. You have a plethora of Disney films that aren't necessarily Pixar, but are still done in CG animation and not hand-drawn. And I think that's the biggest change in the animated film industry is just that paradigm shift of we're going to do this in the computer.
Yeah, because Disney had kind of like, we had just come out of that golden age of Disney animation with like Aladdin, The Lion King. I'm sure I'm missing some few, but like those are the two big ones, The Lion King and Aladdin.
Yeah, Pocahontas, Hunchback of Notre Dame, Hercules, Little Mermaid.
Oh yeah, The Little Mermaid. That's in Beauty and the Beast. Those are the other ones. Yeah. Thank you, Adam. I didn't want to get roasted at the stake from Disney fans. But after The Lion King, let's be real, like Pocahontas and Hunchback and Notre Dame, those aren't on par with The Lion King and Beauty and the Beast and them. So I think Disney was kind of in a funk at that time. And then Toy Story comes out, completely changes shit.
Yeah, they started doing Lion King on Broadway, and all the. I think the big thing was with Disney during that time period was merchandise too, and this movie, being a toy movie, was big on the merchandise too. So. Oh
yeah, I've got a funny story about the Toy Story merchandise later on in the show.
Okay.
I think it's kind of, at least I find it humorous. Some people might find it sad. I find it humorous. Toy Story 2, also, it's one of those rare franchises that the movies seem to have gotten better with each sequel. Because actually, my favorite Toy Story of the 4 is 2.
Yeah, 2 is my favorite. I don't know if it gets better after every sequel. I think.
Well, I think 4 was good, but they didn't really need to make 4.
No, 4 was a cash grab for me. I disliked 4, and I think we're past the point for spoilers. But I don't like Woody's motives in that, just to say the least. I really don't. And he's not in character in that entire movie. I don't like that movie at all.
I didn't really understand the get rich or die trying subplot with Woody.
Yeah,
I didn't get the whole he wanted to be a rapper.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm thinking of something else. Never mind.
Oh, yep. I think
that is not Woody. I was actually thinking about Get Rich or Die Trying with 50 Cent.
No, that's the same movie, isn't it?
I think so.
Just one's animated.
Right. But outside of that, though, each one seemed to have gotten better. I think 3 is really good, too, and I think 3 was the perfect way to end that.
Yeah.
You couldn't have ended that any better.
It wasn't as good as 2, but it was still good enough to be the sunset of that franchise.
I tell you what, though, that scene where they're about to go to that fire pit or that incinerator, that you're not fucking human if you don't feel something.
Right. So, Jenna, funny story about that. Jenna and I decided to not take, I think Madison was born then. I'm not sure. I don't remember when it came out. We decided to go in the middle of the day on a weekend, which was a terrible choice because there were children in the movie theater.
Oh, dude, we took me and my brother actually went and seen Shrek, another computer animated classic, which we wouldn't have without Toy Story. We decided to go at a matinee on Sunday afternoon. Worst fucking mistake ever. Kids getting up every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
I remember a mother getting mad at one of her kids because he spilt popcorn and soda all over the floor. And she pretty much yelled at him as this movie's playing. I mean, it seriously, it felt like trying to watch a movie in daycare. Go ahead.
It would be cool if we had somebody that was a pretty good animator and have just us telling stories about movie theater experiences and somebody animating it for us, just for that reason. Just the amount of stories that we have.
The Shrek one's probably one of my favorites. It doesn't quite top the dude having a seizure in Natural Born Killers, but it's in the
oh my god,
it's in the top 5.
What was that one? You were telling me one where somebody else had spilled their popcorn too, and then the mom was.
Big Mama got super mad, and she said, "Don't you gonna make Big Mama go out here and buy another bag of popcorn?" She was so upset. We were watching Doctor Strange, and luckily I'd already seen it. I always have this thing where I go see the Marvel movies before I take my son and my wife, just so if I have to take my son to the bathroom, my wife can watch the movie uninterrupted. So, but yeah. Some of the Big Mama subplot was actually just as good, if not better, than some of the stuff in Doctor Strange.
Man, I love movie theater stories. I think we're off on a rail now.
It's all right.
I remember going to see Toy Story on that weekend, and the children were definitely sobbing at that point. Like, is Woody going to die, Mom? Like, no, Woody's probably not going to die.
Oh, luckily I seen 3. I think me and my wife were on like doing a date night. I think we went and seen Toy Story 3 at like 9:30 at night when I knew there was no fucking kids. Like, at least most parents wouldn't have their kids out at like 11 or 12 o'clock at a movie theater. So we chanced it, and there was like maybe 6 people in the cinema. So we didn't have to worry about some kid just getting upset that Buzz and Woody were about to meet their maker.
Yeah, I got the feels during that scene, but like the back of my head, I knew like, yeah, no, Disney's not going to let us watch these toys burn to death.
Oh, dude, when that happened, I just fucking thought to myself, damn pollen in this theater, man. It's getting my eyes off. The last question I have for you is, when I was watching it last night, Buzz and Woody are a pretty iconic movie duo. Am I wrong?
You are not wrong.
Where would you rank that combo in if you were doing like a top 5 best buddy duos in movies? Where would you rank Buzz and Woody?
I don't know. They would be on par with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover.
I have Riggs and Murtaugh.
Okay.
I have Buzz and Woody. Butch and Sundance.
Oh, Butch and Sundance, yeah.
I'm trying to think. Well, who would you have? And then I'm sure I'll be able to rattle them off between now and then.
Honestly, I can't really think of any iconic duos right now off the top of my head. I didn't prepare, but Buzz and Woody would at least be in my top 3 for sure.
Yeah, I would think
Butch
so too.
Would be too, I think. I like Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid.
Well, it was one of those questions like we had a few weeks ago where something just like, oh, fuck, that's a good question, and I don't send it to you ahead of time, and I'm really bad about that. And I do apologize. It probably hurts the overall content of our show when I don't prepare my guest.
That's okay. No, I
still recognize we're Bush League. This is an hour of amateur work. I recognize that, but I'm trying. I'm really trying to get better.
We're cream of the crop. I don't know what you're talking about.
The creme de la creme. All right. Yeah, I would say they've got to be at least in the top 5. I also thought of Will Smith and Martin Lawrence and Bad Boys are pretty good together, although I wouldn't put them on the Mount Rushmore.
Speaking of Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones.
There's another one. I was just thinking, the minute I said that, I was like, fuck, Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote this question a few hours ago, and I didn't even bother to research it. My mind is slipped. But we're also recording this at almost 10 o'clock at night too, so.
Yeah. Do you think that, just to play off that question, do you think that Buzz and Woody was influenced by other buddy movies, or do you think they were influencers of subsequent buddy movies?
I don't think that they so much like Toy Story is very influential, and Toy Story does. But I also noticed that Toy Story 2 borrows a lot from other films.
Yeah,
I think that they probably Buzz and Woody kind of have. Well, in the early going, they're very Riggs and Murtaugh-esque, where they don't get along.
Yeah,
but then they might eventually. There's a moment that happens where they have to come together, and they become pretty close, and they're pretty much close throughout the rest of the movies. And they also have some Butch and Sundance in them too, where that kind of like they're always in some kind of adventure.
Yeah, you can sometimes when you watch a movie, you can tell that whatever movie it is, not just Toy Story, the filmmaker, you can tell the filmmaker's favorite movies just by watching their movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you see that all the time in the Pixar stuff. Like those movies are always they're geared towards children, but also adults can enjoy them because they put a lot of like very sly adult content into them.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, you ready to rock and roll and get these categories knocked out?
Yeah, I am.
All right. The Tale of the Tape. This was released on November the 22nd, 1995. This stars the voices of Tom Hanks, which first time doing a Tom Hanks movie. 42 or 43 episodes in, and we haven't done a Tom Hanks movie yet.
Wow.
Tim Allen, Don Rickles, Jim Varney, Wallace Shawn, and John Ratzenberger all contribute voice work to this movie. This was directed by John Lasseter. A Rotten Tomatoes score of 100% from critics and 92% from audiences. This movie made $373 million on a $30 million budget. Was nominated for 3 Academy Awards, and John Lasseter won a Special Achievement Oscar for contributions to enable the first computer animated film to be made, which actually they haven't done a Special Achievement Oscar since this.
Right.
And this movie was selected by the U.S. Library of Congress for preservation in the National Film Registry in 2005. And, of course, you can stream this on Disney+. Hooray, Disney+, for putting all of your stuff on your streaming platform. Unlike Paramount Plus.
Please still support us, Paramount Plus, if you hear this.
You know, I don't even fucking care at this point. I mean, they're just gonna. It'll be one of those things where they give us money, or they'll promise to. And you're frozen up. I'm just seeing you laugh. Can you hear me? Adam, you there?
Yes, I am here.
Okay, all I see is your face laughing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I might have to edit that out a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. It's like the third time we've had technical difficulties.
Yeah, it's not as bad as when Gage was on for Friday the 13th Part 2. He had an internet issue, and then his roommate came home, and I swear, like, we thought that he had just bailed on the episode. He was like, you know what? I can't deal with these two bozos anymore. I'm done. And we just thought he fucking split. Like, you know, not saying anything, just like, I'm out. But yeah, Paramount Plus, though, like, it doesn't matter. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, they're not going to sponsor us anyways. I mean, save that money to put your classic films on your streaming platform.
That'd be nice.
If anything comes of this, maybe it starts a small grassroots campaign to get Gladiator, to get Wayne's World, to get Clueless, which I don't think was on. Yeah, Clueless wasn't on there. Yeah. Forrest Gump wasn't on there. I think about 10% of the movies we've done on this show are Paramount titles, and I don't think any of them are on their streaming platform.
Yeah, they had to close all of their amusement parks too and sell them off, so they're not fun anymore.
Yeah, they had to save money to put into Star Trek content. All right, well, I'm gonna quit bitching about Paramount Plus. I don't need a lawsuit letter sent to my house. I mean, I don't need them suing me for my podcasting equipment because that's pretty much the only possessions I have. All right, well, the William Somerset Research Corner, I got a few fun facts here for you. This, of course, I just mentioned, was the first computer-animated feature film, which is kind of cool. And now you can't go 6 months in a non-pandemic year without a computer-animated feature. This is also the first animated movie to ever be nominated for a Best Original Screenplay Oscar, which I found to be very fascinating. And I'm pretty sure if they would have expanded the Best Picture nominees from 5 to 10, in 95, this probably would have gotten a Best Picture nomination, I think.
Yeah, and wasn't before that, wasn't Beauty and the Beast the only animated feature to be nominated?
I think it still is. No, Up got one too, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But yeah, up until then, it was only Beauty and the Beast, and that was it. Wow. And they try to they do the cop-out thing where they say, like, oh, well, they've got their own category. Like, no, like,
yeah. There's
been quite a few animated movies, especially from Pixar, that have been one of the best movies, like Wall-E.
Mm-hmm.
I think Wall-E, and I think The Dark Knight was the same year as Wall-E. Those are better than half the Best Picture nominees that year anyways.
Right.
I would have put those two in there over, like, even Slumdog Millionaire, which won. I would have put Wall-E or Dark Knight in there instead of them.
I watched Slumdog Millionaire that year because I heard that about the Oscar buzz, and I wasn't impressed. I mean, it was an okay movie, but it wasn't my favorite.
Well, I have said on this show that I think that they should retroactively award the Academy Awards, or just take them away from movies that haven't aged well.
Or, if we get big enough, our awards will actually mean something, and our awards will mean more than the Oscars.
That would be awesome. The Spuds?
Yes.
But ours will be like when you do the potato experiment in elementary school. That's what our awards will look like.
That's awesome. Yes, I like it.
I thought this was kind of a cool little fun fact. Billy Crystal was offered the role of Buzz Lightyear, which I'm glad that he turned it down.
Yeah, that's not the kind of role I would picture him in.
Right. He declined it, but after seeing Toy Story, he said, and I quote, "I've made the biggest mistake of my career."
Yep.
And then a few years later, John Lasseter called him at his house to offer him the role of Mike in Monsters, Inc. And I guess the story goes that Billy Crystal's wife answered the phone, and she says John Lasseter's on the phone, and Billy Crystal didn't even get on the phone. He just told his wife to tell him that he said yes.
Yep.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
That is really cool. I mean, if John Lasseter calls, say yes.
Yeah, well, I guess with not now, John Lasseter actually turns out it's kind of a creep.
Well, yeah, not anymore. John Lasseter's not even around anymore, so.
Yeah, I forget what year he resigned, but he had a lot of sexual misconduct allegations against him, so he ended up quitting. Was he employed by Disney or Pixar? Because I know Pixar is owned by Disney now, but I didn't know if they were.
He was actually employed by Pixar, I think, but I do know that he had a big stake in Disney too, because he was in a lot of Disney-owned films, as well as a producer and things of that nature. Well,
yeah, John Lasseter calls now, just hang up and report him to the local authorities. He's probably up to no good. Tom Hanks recorded his dialogue for Woody between breaks on Sleepless in Seattle and A League of Their Own. He didn't want to record his dialogue during the breaks from Philadelphia and Forrest Gump due to the dramatic tone of those films, which, yeah, like I definitely couldn't play a toy cowboy after being in a movie where I'm a lawyer dying of AIDS. Man, Woody is in the dumps. What's he so fucking sad about?
Man, Andy doesn't want me anymore.
And then you just cue the Bruce Springsteen sad song where it's like something in the tone of the streets of Philadelphia, but it has to be about being a sad toy. Hasbro denied the use of the G.I. Joe character after finding out that the character, Sid, was going to blow up a G.I. Joe doll. And that's when they end up calling it Combat Carl.
Yeah.
Now, this is a bit of interesting casting news, I think. And I think this actually could have worked. Tim Allen said in an interview that Pixar wanted Jim Carrey as Buzz and Paul Newman as Woody. They were not cast due to budget concerns. And I guess apparently they wanted it to be kind of a symbolic gesture of old Hollywood with Paul Newman and new Hollywood with Jim Carrey. And then, since Woody's the old toy, Buzz is the new hip toy, kind of.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
I would have liked that. I mean, I like what we got, but I think that would have worked.
Yeah, especially Paul. I could definitely see Paul Newman as Woody.
Yeah.
Actually, Paul Newman was cast in a Pixar movie. He was Doc Hudson in Cars, which was his last film role in 2006. He passed away a couple of years later.
Unfortunate that it was his last film. I didn't like that film.
Yeah, not a big Cars guy either. Those, I think, are probably some of the weaker movies in the Pixar utility belt. Last one that I have is John Lasseter said he always wanted Tom Hanks to play Woody due to Hanks' ability to take emotions and make them appealing, even when playing despicable characters, which I could see that. He's not exactly like Jimmy Dugan is not an upstanding human being at all, but fuck, you can't help but love him.
Right. And even Woody in this movie, like a lot of people portray Woody as like the hero of this movie, but he's not. He's the antagonist of this movie.
Yeah, Woody's an asshole in this movie.
He's not, like, Sid is like the secondary bad guy. He's the bad guy that brings the real bad guy to the realization that, he should be working with Buzz instead of against him.
Yeah.
So
I got a little bit of Sid questions later on. What kind of fun facts do you have?
Let's see here. I have a couple of them. The voice of Woody is iconic because it's Tom Hanks, and everybody recognizes his voice. But Tom Hanks voicing Woody in literally everything is impossible. And what Disney likes to do, if nobody knows, is they like to cast his brother as Jim Hanks as Woody in, like, if he's doing voice acting for toys, or if it's just for like a video game, they'll get Jim Hanks to do the voice instead of Tom Hanks.
Jim Hanks, the star of the Bikini Car Wash Company, a early 90s soft porn movie that you would see on Cinemax late night. But go ahead.
And another fact that I had was in Andy's bedroom when they're starting to have their staff meeting in the beginning of the movie. Woody is up on the podium, which is just a bucket of Tinker Toys. And behind him is a bookshelf. And on the bookshelf, you can see various books. The Tin Toy, Knick Knack, Red's Dream, and Luxo Jr. And all of those are shorts made by Pixar before the full feature film of Toy Story.
Oh, okay. Now, I wasn't like the original character in Toy Story supposed to be Tinny or something? Yeah,
it was supposed to be like the Tin Toy Tinny, and they ended up changing that.
Good call, Pixar.
Yeah, I think so too. Speaking of Sid, since we were talking about Sid a little while ago, the carpet in Sid's house is the way it is because of the location, I guess. But not only that, it is the love of the movie The Shining. It is the exact carpet design of the Overlook Hotel.
No wonder Sid's so fucked in the head.
Come play with us, Sid. And another cool thing I like to do when I watch Pixar movies, not just Toy Story, but all Pixar movies, which is really fun, is the Pizza Planet truck that appears in this movie appears in every Pixar movie. And it's fun to watch the Pixar movie and try and find it.
Okay, I never knew that.
Yeah. One cool one is in Monsters Incorporated when they shove Randall into the real world and he's inside that trailer. And it's like, Mama, it's a gator, get the gun. The car on the outside is actually the Pizza Planet truck.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you been able to find the Pizza Planet truck in all of them?
I have been able to find the Pizza Planet truck in most of them. Some of the newer ones I haven't been able to do, like The Incredibles 2 and Finding Dory. I haven't watched those enough to just pick apart the movie and try and find the Pizza Planet truck.
Okay. You mentioned that. Where is it at in Wall-E?
Wall-E, I think... shoot. I think it is in one of the piles of garbage on Earth when he's cleaning up, if I'm not mistaken.
That makes sense.
But I'll have to go back and look at it. I might be wrong.
All right, well, you can always text me later because that's actually, I'm going to probably look that up as soon as we're done. All right, anything else?
Yeah, I do have one more. Sid's name is a combination of two inspirations that the filmmakers had. The first name, Sid, was inspired by punk rocker Sid Vicious.
Okay.
And Buzz and Woody actually have a deleted scene on the Blu-ray disc where they call him Sid Vicious. And his last name was also inspired by a Pixar employee, last name Phillips. His name is Sid Phillips. The Pixar employee liked to take apart toys and Frankenstein them together in his spare time.
Well, yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah, a little bit. That's my last fun fact.
All right. Yeah, that Sid is maniacal about that, and it just, I don't know.
It's creepy.
A little bit. It's a good segue into the I Drink Your Milkshake Award for the best scene of the movie.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
My favorite scene in the movie is the revenge of the toys against Sid / Woody and Buzz chasing after the moving truck.
Yeah, see, that was actually mine too, and I was going to ask you if I was allowed to group those together because.
Hey, you know what? There's a very loose set of rules in this show. It's not like owning a Mogwai, which is a nod to Gremlins, which you can listen to in our previous episodes. But yeah, it's very loose. So yeah, sure, you can combine them. I've done it plenty of times.
Okay.
But yeah, I just like that scene just because I don't know why that. I just don't like that fucking kid Sid. He's really he creeps me out, and I just love the fact that those toys are pretty much like they fuck with him to where he's just going to be in a very odd mental state for the rest of his life. Like right. When Woody is talking to him and he addresses him by name, like you just know, like, oh man, Sid is he's going to be fucking unhinged now.
And then he does the whole, turning his head 360 degrees. Mm-hmm. Like, no. I would be screwed up as a kid after that. Like, I'd have to go to therapy.
And then, it actually leads me to have a question that I might have to have answered later on in the show. So that also is a cool point of this too, is that whole scene. And then just the whole chase sequence with Woody and Buzz trying to catch the moving van, which one thing I have against that moving van, did Andy and his mom, did they move a bunch of shit to the new house beforehand? Or is that all they own? Because that moving truck did not have a lot in it.
See, that's part of one of my unsolved mysteries.
All right, well, we'll save it.
Not necessarily that, but yeah, there's some inaccuracy with the moving portion of this movie.
All right, well, we'll save that for the unsolved mysteries then. But that's a pretty good car chase sequence, I think, too. Yeah,
for sure. And I really like how it ends, and it ties a whole bunch of the scenes from previously in the movie together, falling with style, and the whole thing with him using his helmet as a match for the rocket. And yeah, I really like that scene. It just ties the movie together very nicely.
Well, too, it also it seems to be when they show Toy Story in montage clips, that seems to be the scene that they use more, is the scene where they've lit the rocket and the rocket's trying to catch the the moving van.
Yeah. When you see Buzz and Woody flying through the air, that's pretty iconic.
Mm-hmm. So we're in agreement. That's the scene of the movie.
We are in agreement. That is definitely the scene of the movie. I do have one honorable mention though.
Let's hear it.
When Buzz realizes that he's a toy, that is probably like, you know, the Toy Story 3 scene when they're all like holding hands and they're in the incinerator. It's that point in the movie where it hits rock bottom. Mm-hmm. And I think that is a really good scene for that. And you just see him slowly realize that, hey, I'm not a space ranger. I am a toy.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. Like I said, I was watching a little bit of this today. Getting paid, and yeah, like that scene, because I started it about at that point. And yeah, it's tough to see Buzz just kind of get knocked down to where like he kind of isn't as awesome as he thinks he is.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's a bad way to put it, but yeah, it just like he's built himself up to be like he's just this awesome badass space ranger, and it's like Woody's been trying to tell him,
yeah,
like you're no different than us. You just have a few more little features, and then watching him like try to fly out the window and he can't do it. And I'm just man.
And then he loses his arm.
Yeah. Thank God for Sid's sister. That's a good one too. Like, I also kind of dig the birthday party scene where they're like the army men sneak into the potted plant. I don't know why. It's such a cool little montage when Arlie Ermey's reading off what Woody what Andy gets for his birthday. And I always kind of like that scene too.
I kind of like the idea that not necessarily like it just plays into the whole like the toys are alive thing, that the toys are worried about what new toys are coming into the room. I kind of like that. Yeah.
I mean, that's just like, if anything though, really, like if you've been beloved for so long and something new comes along, I mean, I'm sure kids kind of feel that too with like when they get siblings.
Yeah.
I mean, I've dealt with that here where, you know, my son was like the only one for a while. Then his sister comes along and just.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of a universal theme, whether you're a toy or not.
Right. I've had the same thing with my kids too. So, I mean, yeah.
But yeah, my son just says, you know what, fuck it. All right.
Yeah, I think moving truck scene. Yeah.
All right. So yeah, the moving truck scene / Sid getting his best scene of the movie. I think that's a solid winner.
For sure. And it's iconic.
Mm-hmm. The I don't like sand, it's coarse and rough award for the worst scene in the movie.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
I didn't really have a nominee. This movie is pretty much perfect, and it's short too. It's like an hour and 20-something minutes, so there's really no time for a bad scene.
Right. I mean, and I dislike it when people knock movies for being short. Like the last Venom movie being how long it was, people were knocking it for being like the shortest Marvel movie. My response to that, like, in the case of Venom, it was solid. It wasn't as good as the first one, but it was still a fun movie. But my response to people that knock movies for running time, especially like kids movies don't need to be long. If you don't have to bog down the plot with useless, story elements, then don't. If the movie is going to be paced really well and you can get the entire story told in an hour and a half, then that's great.
Well, yeah, and not only that, I mean, pretty much with like Pixar, you know that most likely there's going to be a sequel to it anyway. So,
right.
I mean, you get Woody's backstory in 2. You find out where Woody comes from and everything, you know, and essentially it's kind of like you get to know more about Buzz than you do Woody. You just know that Woody is Andy's toy. Mm-hmm. You don't know how long Andy's had Woody. Then you kind of get the idea of what Woody is in part 2. So yeah, I mean, as long as the story gets told and it makes sense, like it could be 3 hours long or it could be an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, doesn't matter as long as the pacing's good and you're interested and the story is a good story. Then it doesn't matter how long the movie is.
I used to have a friend that when we went to the movies, he would ask me to look up how long the movie is, and he would tell me if it's under 2 hours, he goes, it's not going to be any good.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of people that are like, yeah, no, they knock the running time all the time. Like, yeah, they had to cut a whole bunch out because it sucked.
But you know what's funny, though? That same person, whenever we would go to the movies, if the movie was over 2 hours long, you would always look over and him and his girlfriend, then later his wife, would be asleep. Just about every time you'd see them, they would be just conked out. And it's like 2/3 of the way through the movie. I'm like, all right, maybe this movie should have been like 45 minutes. All right, so like you're in agreement too. There's really not a bad scene in this, or
not a bad scene. I was racking my brain trying to think of scenes, and I was like, well, I really like the scene at the gas station just because of their back and forth there. I really like the scene at Pizza Planet. All the scenes in the room are necessary, and they're pretty good. I really couldn't think of a scene to cut out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was the same way. It's like you can't really cut out. There's nothing bad in this to where you would get rid of it.
Right.
So fuck, man, we're 2 for 2 so far.
Yeah.
Start having you on more often. The King Kong Ain't Got Shit on Me award for the best line of the movie. I'll let you lead off on this one.
King Kong ain't got shit on me.
I have an honorable mention after the one, but I think we're going to be in agreement on this too. To Infinity and Beyond.
That's your honorable mention, or is that your...
That is my line. That is
the
line. It's the most iconic line from this movie, probably from any animated feature. I mean, can you think of a more iconic line from anything from Disney? Not really.
No. I think maybe Hakuna Matata.
Yeah.
And then Hi Ho. That's more of a song though than a line. Yeah, I can't really think of any animated movie that has a more iconic line than that.
Right. And you hear it and you instantly know what it's from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah. That's my line.
Yeah, that was mine too. What I do is I always I write notes and then I fill them in as I can remember. That was the one that I did before anything else was the best line of the movie. Is like, yeah, this is the easiest one we've done. So I wrote that one down.
Yeah, that one's the one. My honorable mention though was during the gas station scene when they're under the truck and they're arguing amongst each other, and it's "You are a toy." Yeah,
that one's a good too.
You're a child's plaything.
That one's a good too. I have one, and the only reason I have it is it used to be like something I would say if I was walking around, if I hurt my foot, or I was limping around. Because I have 2 bad knees, so naturally sometimes I'm just going to not walk as well as I should. But when I was younger, if I was limping around and somebody asked me, what's wrong with you? And I always say, there's a snake in my boot.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, usually I would just get met with the look of you're such a fucking dork. But...
This whole movie, though, the whole movie is quotable. I am Mrs. Nesbit. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Just random stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I even some of the stuff with just some of the stuff with Woody, you're a sad, strange little man.
Yeah.
That's a good one, too. So,
look, Buzz, an alien. There's a funny remix video on line that people should look up. Just look up Buzz Looking Alien Not Safe for Work and do it on incognito mode or private mode if you can. But that's a funny video. Just a plug for that.
Yeah, no, what fuck it. I'm just gonna play it at work. Crank the speakers up. All right. So yeah, we're 3 for 3 so far.
Yep.
It's almost like we cheated and just wrote our lines or notes together.
Well, I mean, when this movie is pretty much, very, very good, and it has iconic scenes and lines, I mean, we're going to pick the ones naturally.
Right. All right. The McLovin Award for the Best Supporting Performance.
I am McLovin.
I'll let you go first.
Okay, so I had 2 for this one, and I couldn't decide which one I liked better. I had Don Rickles as Mr. Potato Head, and I also had John Ratzenberger as Ham the Pig.
Yeah.
Both of them have their positives. Like Don Rickles, he had you knew it was Don Rickles just by what he said in the movie. Like even his, what are you looking at, hockey puck? Like, yeah.
Yeah, he's on Dirty Work, but just toned down.
Yeah. And he's just a funny overall guy, and the energy he brings to that character, being sarcastic and cynical and condescending, it just makes the movie that much better. And then John Ratzenberger, just because ever since I saw him in Cheers, his voice is iconic, and he brings that character into all of the characters that he plays in Pixar because he's in every single movie.
I was just getting ready to say that, yeah.
So, I mean, you have to pick him for a Pixar movie, kind of. So it's really a toss-up between the two, in my opinion.
For me, it was hard to choose just one because everybody's so good. Like Jim Varney as Slinky Dog.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much to the point where if you see these toys, the voices instantly come into your mind.
Yeah.
I thought of Jim Varney. I liked R. Lee Ermey as the army man, which that's about as pitch perfect of a voice actor casting as you can get. Considering he used to be a drill sergeant in the military, then he's most known for the drill sergeant in Full Metal Jacket. Ratzenberger and Rickles are awesome. I voted for Wallace Shawn, though, as T-Rex.
Yeah, he's really good, too. I thought about selecting him as Rex. I like Wallace Shawn. We've already talked about The Princess Bride. I love him in that.
Yeah, your wife doesn't like that movie, does she?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
But, I know it's inconceivable, but she doesn't. Yeah, I thought about him too, because some of his humor in the movie is the best humor. That timid T-Rex dinosaur dynamic is perfect for him.
Yeah, and when you see a T-Rex, a toy, you instantly think of something that is tough and mean, and then he's the polar opposite of what you would expect from a T-Rex. Right. He's neurotic, very timid, and when you hear his voice, you'd almost expect it to be like Tim Allen's voice more than Wallace Shawn.
Yeah.
And I just think that he just hits he's really funny, especially when he's trying to perfect his roar throughout the movie.
Yeah.
That stuff cracks me up too. I don't know. I don't think there's really a wrong answer here though, because everybody really brings their A game. I think just because for me, I picture all the toys. When I see them, I just picture those voices. I can't give this to just one person.
Yeah, I'd say that we should say the winner of this award is the supporting cast of Toy Story.
All right, that since we kind of fly by the seat of our pants here, we're rebels, we're mavericks, we have no rules or very loose rules. A first time ever on the Couch Potato Podcast, we're awarding the McLovin to the supporting cast of a movie.
Yep.
First time ever. Mark this down on your calendars. This is historic. They will write about this in history books later.
But they deserve it.
They do. I agree. I just can't give it to just one. It's too tough. So
yeah.
So all right. The whole Toy Story cast wins a McLovin. It's like the Oprah. It's you get a McLovin and you get a McLovin. Everybody gets a McLovin.
It's a McLovin.
Somebody's going to listen to this like, who the fuck's McLovin? Before we get into the next category, I am actually in an episode about a kids movie. I think I have swore more on this episode than I have any other, and I managed to get a soft porn movie reference into a kids movie.
Hey, we're cultured here on the couch.
We're trailblazers. All right. The Eric Stoltz Award for the performer that you would recast. I mean, we've talked briefly about how perfect this movie's been cast, so can't really give out an Eric Stoltz one. We've been basically just giving verbal BJs to the entire cast.
I didn't have one. I think it would be cool if they did do Jim Carrey and Paul Newman, but no, I don't think we should recast anybody.
Mm-mm. No, I mean, Tim Allen's perfect. Tom Hanks is perfect. They nailed the supporting roles. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
There's nobody.
Yep.
Except for Sid. Sid shouldn't have spoken at all. Fucking weirdo. All right, so Unsolved Mysteries of the Movie.
Join me. Perhaps you may be able to help solve a mystery.
Since we started to briefly talk about yours, I will let you continue with that thought.
So they're moving. That is one of the biggest subplots of the movies because they need to have their moving buddy. They need to be out of the house. Buzz and Woody are lost, and the rest of the toys are getting ready to get packed up, and they need to make it back to Andy's house in time to move to the new one. That is the biggest subplot. They mention it at the beginning of the movie. They are moving in a week after Andy's birthday. So they're moving in a week. It looks like most of the house hasn't been packed at all. Maybe they're waiting for the moving truck, but as you mentioned, the moving truck is empty in the end. Also, when Andy is transitioning over to liking space toys more, Andy's mom redoes his entire room in a Space Ranger getup. Gets rid of the wallpaper, redoes the entire thing. You're moving in a week. Why are you doing that, Mrs. Andy's mom? And it looks like weeks pass in that entire montage because it's day, night, day, night, day, night, and then he ends up in the toy box one night. What day is it? Weren't they moving in a week? Mm-hmm. I don't get it. It doesn't make any sense. The time doesn't line up.
No. After I had said something about the moving truck not having a lot in it, it's like makes me wonder, like, did Andy's mom sell like most of her shit to get his birthday presents?
Yeah, see,
it's like they had a yard sale and like, all right, here's a couch, got you a great deal on it. Here's a TV.
Yeah, they have that yard sale in the second one, and you don't see Andy's dad, so you assume he's at work, but he doesn't show up at night when they go to Pizza Planet. What does Andy's mom do for a living? She's at home all day.
That's a very good question. Apparently selling all their shit to pay for the kids' birthday presents.
Or buy the new house. What money did she use to buy the new house?
Oh, that's divorce money right there. That's alimony cash.
I think we solved it. Alimony cash. That's what she's doing.
Yeah, Andy's dad's out of the picture now. He's, which actually, do they ever show Andy's dad in any of the Toy Story movies?
No, not in all four of them. They're not in. Oh, I mean, Andy's really not in 4, but no, they don't show Andy's dad at all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I bet one night Andy's mom caught Andy's dad at home. She was taking Andy to a movie. The baby's at a sitter. They come home and they find Andy's dad in the sack with a waitress from Denny's.
Yep. And
a deleted scene in the movie, you hear Andy's mom yell at Andy's dad, "How could you bring that whore into our bedroom?"
Every time I watch Toy Story now, it's going to be different for me.
If anybody gets anything out of this show, it's just to have a different point of view on the movies that we do. But there's one. I think Andy's mom, that's alimony money. It's paying for the bills.
Right, and we were just gonna say that there's some kind of weird time-space continuum thing for the time period it takes for them to move.
It's a weird Back to the Future like subplot. Maybe Andy's mom's dating Emmett Brown.
That station wagon she drives is actually the Time Machine Mark II. It's not a DeLorean anymore.
It's a Woody wagon. And it only has to get up to 58 miles an hour because we know that thing's not getting up to 88 unless it just completely disintegrates.
Could you imagine the end of the movie if Buzz and Woody finally get to the top of that station wagon? They're going to go in through the moonroof and it just disappears in a cloud of smoke and fire.
Yeah, then Andy and his mom end up in like 1955. Is that the only mystery that you have?
No, I actually have a second mystery.
Oh, okay. 2-pack. I've got 2 as well.
Okay. Do you want me to do my last one, or
you go right ahead?
All right. So this one's a small one, and it kind of, like the last time I watched it, I kind of it was in the back of my mind the entire time. Buzz is with Andy at the beginning of the movie. He thinks he's a space ranger. He is the Buzz Lightyear. He is fighting the Galactic Emperor Zurg. Why does he freeze when Andy shows up if he doesn't think he's a toy?
That is a good question. One that I don't think I can really answer unless like toys are just like naturally, instinctively freeze when they see like a human being. Like it's just like something that kind of like, a natural instinct you're born with.
Yeah. Maybe
or
it's like
made with.
Yeah.
It's like you're.
Yeah. I like that. Like he can't control it. Like he freezes because there's a human in the room. It's like a part of his DNA. It's not something that he's in control of.
Yeah, I mean that's the only thing I can figure.
But see, I guess Sid's dad was asleep in the recliner.
Is that Sid's mom or Sid's dad? You never see Sid's like his parents.
I don't know. It might be his mom. You hear his mom. Sid, your Pop-Tarts are ready. But yeah, no, I don't know if it's his dad or his mom. But see, they do move around when there are humans present. So I don't know. Maybe it's when humans can see them and they have to freeze.
Yeah, that could be. That's the only answer I have is it's just they're predisposed to do that.
I don't know. Unsolved mystery of the movie. I think that's a good answer though.
Yeah. If anybody's got any other theories, please let us know. I'd be curious to hear them. I'm sure somebody's got one out there.
Yeah.
I have one, but then one is more just a question. Have you ever thought at any point that your toys were real, especially after seeing, like before you seen this, like after you seen this?
Yeah. So I do remember thinking that as a kid. I don't remember whether or not it was after this movie or before this movie. I want to say it was before this movie. And then when I saw this movie, I was like, yeah, no, the toys are alive.
Yeah, because you're young enough to where you would have seen this as a kid, right?
Yeah, I was 6, I believe. So, yeah.
Damn, it makes me feel old because 95, I was like a sophomore in high school.
But, yeah, no, I think I have thought that at one point. And I think on some level, some adults might still think that.
Oh, yeah.
Met some people. But, yeah, no, I think that at some point, most everybody thinks their toys are alive. As a kid, at least.
I'm sure I thought that as a kid, too. But, like I said, me being much older than you, like, stuff when I was a kid is just getting further and further away. It did remind me of a funny story, though. I was at a party, probably 99, 2000 era, and all I'm going to say is I was burning a lot of trees at this party. A lot of trees. And I remember going to the bathroom, and I just happened to walk past party we were at. I think it was a small child's room, and they had like some of the Toy Story toys out. And being in the state of mind I was in, I would check back periodically to see if I could catch the toys talking to one another or something.
They're formulating a plan to break out of Sunnyside.
Yeah. Or, like just catch them talking and like watch them drop to the floor. That's how fucked up I was. And I only remember it because it was brought up to me recently. A friend of mine had said, like, hey, remember that time you were stoned and you thought you kept checking to see if those toys were going to come to life until... I was like, I did that? Really?
That's awesome.
It is. But yeah, like, I must have fucked up. The one question that I have, and it goes back to the scene where the toys get their revenge on Sid. And Sid's got to be fucked up mentally now. Oh, yeah. I know I sure shit would be if fucking toy starts talking to me like that.
Yeah.
And I originally my question was, what kind of person does Sid grow up to be? And you told me in 3 he's a trash man, which I completely forgot about.
Yes.
So I had to change my question a little bit. Mm-hmm. Do you think that Sid being fucked up in the head has murdered anyone?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
He's a garbage collector. That's so easy to do. Like, he could murder somebody and throw him in the garbage. Like, yeah. No, he's definitely murdered somebody.
Yeah, I think he's pretty remorseless about it, too.
Yeah, he's just banging on those trash cans, jamming out to whatever's on his headphones. He's like, yeah, I just killed 3 people last night.
Yeah, Sid's the definition of a drifter. I just kind of picture him being like the roadies in Beavis and Butthead Do America, the ones that they sit in the desert with.
Yes.
He just rides around on a motorcycle, hopping from town to town. All right, well, that was pretty easy. I mean, like, I was expecting more of a, well, I don't know, maybe Sid got his shit together. Like, no, I'm glad we're on the same page there. Just like, yeah, Sid's definitely killed somebody, at least one person.
We don't see him like much as young adult / adult, going around picking up, garbage cans. All we see is like, he's jamming out to his music, picking up garbage cans. So, yeah, we don't know that he got help. He probably did, but
Yeah, I don't think they did a Pixar short Sid at therapy.
And his sister tortured him with toys all the time after that.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure she turned the tables on him and just fucked with him nonstop.
Even like growing up as teenagers, she probably like had dolls hanging in his closet or something like that.
Honestly, you would not be a good sibling if you didn't do that. Because I know I would probably do the same to my brother.
Yeah, if my brother was torturing me and like, tearing apart my toys, I would do the same thing.
Yeah, I just look like I'm going to fuck with him tonight. Put a couple dolls in his bed when he's asleep.
And then he grows up and he sees Annabelle and like he has post-traumatic stress disorder during the movie.
Second crossover movie, Toy Story with the Annabelle series. Like, or Child's Play, like Sid is Charles Lee Ray.
All right, Disney, there's your remake live action movie that is coming out next year. Give us the money.
No. All right, well, we'll quit fucking with Disney's properties here, making them sound more morbid. So we'll just move on to the last category of the show. It's the I'm the King of the World award for Who Wins the Movie.
I'm the King of the World.
It's the performer or the aspect of the movie that you will probably be talking about after you see this. Adam, I will let you go first.
I thought about this really hard. I was going to say, Tom Hanks did a really great job. Tim Allen did a really great job. We talked about how well the supporting cast did. I even liked Randy Newman's score thought about nominating him for this because, without his score, this wouldn't be as good as it is. And then I thought about, John Lasseter, but he's a douchebag now. He could have won the movie, but I don't want to nominate him. I'm going to nominate Pixar as a whole, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pixar as a company, because not only did they have Disney on its knees begging them to give them content, but it started out as a company that nobody thought would succeed. And even Steve Jobs, being a backer of the company, didn't know if the movie was going to do well, and he was really nervous about it. And I think Pixar deserves the King of the World award for this.
Wow, that's actually a really good case. Actually, I'd probably just give it to you for that reason. I mean, I actually nominated Tom Hanks just because he's in the midst of an incredible run. He's in the middle of probably the best 10-year run of any actor or actress I can remember. Because he had just done he had just come off of Sleepless in Seattle, Philadelphia, League of Their Own, and Forrest Gump. He had just won his second Oscar for Forrest Gump. This year he had Apollo 13, which is probably out of the 5 Best Picture nominees in 95, probably the best one. And now looking back at it, Toy Story could have booted any of the other 4. I'd have been okay with it bumping Braveheart out of the Best Picture category. Yeah. I mean, Braveheart's good, but I don't think it's a better film than Toy Story.
No.
Here's my hot take for the.
No, that's not a hot take. I mean, maybe I share the same hot take. I don't know, but I think Toy Story is a better movie overall.
Right. And then he's getting ready to direct his first feature movie based off of all this. And plus, Woody's the emotional center of the movie. Basically everybody kind of reacts to how Woody is. But I don't know. I think you make a compelling case. I'd be more than happy to give it to Pixar as a whole, just because that studio revolutionized animated films. I mean, they pretty much saved Disney. Disney was, and
that's something to be said too, because not many companies can make Disney beg,
right?
And Disney was begging,
right? And Disney now it's pretty much their whole movie operations is Marvel, Star Wars, and Pixar. That's it.
Yeah,
just those 3.
Walt Disney Animation Studios is just I wouldn't say great value Pixar, but just beneath the brand name. So instead of having Jif peanut butter, it's Skippy peanut butter. Not great value peanut butter.
Right.
So the Walt Disney Animation Studios movies are good. They gross a whole bunch of money. Frozen was a big hit. But that's not possible without Pixar. Not at all.
And then, Pixar, I mean, it basically paved the way. Every studio that does animation now does theirs through computers. Shrek is huge. Despicable Me is a huge franchise. That's all computer animated too. I'm sure I'm missing Secret Life of Pets.
Yeah.
You name it, everybody's doing computer animated cartoon movies now. So Pixar, I'm okay giving it to Pixar. Pixar wins this movie.
Okay. I like that. Okay.
All right. Well, there was hardly any bickering or we were pretty much agreeing on everything. Did we just become friends?
I think so. You want to go do karate in the garage?
Yep. Which that's a line from Step Brothers, another episode that you can hear in our catalog of titles wherever you listen to podcasts. Before we go, Adam, you got anything you want to add before we wrap this bad boy up?
Yeah, I do. Do you think that I don't know if this is going to be a thing or not, because we don't normally see like many silent films or black and white films pop up. But do you think that hand-drawn animation is going to be one of those niche kind of artsy things that only pops up every now and then? Or do you think that it might return in some fashion based on like what Pixar's done?
I don't think so. I think it's just going to be like, you might see like smaller studios do it for more of like an artistic take. Like, 'cause when you see like the best animated feature at the Oscars, as an example, you'll hear it's usually a Pixar movie. You might get one from like one of the other major studios, and you'll get like some country in Europe or Asia has done an animated film that looks like it's hand drawn. I see it more for like artistic value, but I just don't think it's going to be. I think that style animation is probably done.
Okay, and just going off of that, do you think that like doing computer animation is less artistic because it's less of the artist in the finished product, or do you think that it's just the same amount because you got that artist emotion in there still?
Well, I think with like animated movies, it's not really just the way that the characters are drawn, because like I don't look at animated movies as like a piece of art. I look at it as it's a movie that requires much more going into it than just the look.
Right.
Because I've always felt that like voice acting is probably the most integral part of an animated movie, because they're the ones that are giving the words feeling. They're
right.
They're making that character come to life. So
I would equate the way that it's drawn more towards cinematography or lighting.
Yeah.
Or
like Roger Deakins as a good example. He's a fantastic cinematographer, but he doesn't make No Country for Old Men a great movie. It's already a great movie. It makes it look as good as the movie is. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay.
A couple good questions, though.
Yeah. I just thought those were running through my head while we were doing the podcast. I thought I'd ask them at the end.
God damn, Adam. That's some good shit bringing it tonight. All right. Well, I don't have anything to add. I think we pretty much covered it. I'm sorry if I ruined Toy Story for you. Please don't let your kids listen to this, because then you're probably going to have your kids wanting to watch Bikini Car Wash Company next, and no.
Or they're thinking that Andy's dad is a womanizer and left his family,
and we also do not want your kids thinking that Sid has murdered somebody or multiple people.
He definitely has.
Yeah, that's not going to be that's not a Pixar animated series that's coming to Disney Plus, folks. You're not going to see the murders of Sid on Disney Plus anytime soon.
Spin-off live action movie.
There you go. Except we'd have to spell it like SYD.
Yeah.
Just to avoid the whole copyright stuff. So, all right. Well, if you don't have anything, I don't have anything. So, Adam, it was a pleasure as always. Thank you for joining me once again.
Yep. Always fun to do.
And we will talk at you guys later. And that's going to wrap up this week's episode of the Couch Potato Podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed that one. Coming up next Monday, we're going to sit down and talk about the 2000 Academy Award winner for Best Picture, Gladiator. That's coming up next week. That should be awesome. So in the meantime, please do us a favor. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Leave us a 5-star review if you're digging what we're doing here on the show. We'd really appreciate it. So until next Monday, we will talk at you guys later.